Okay, so today's lesson is going to be about differentiation, and this is going to be about concepts and formulas of solving derivatives. So before we get started, just going to go over a few basic concepts and rules of how you solve derivatives in certain cases. So these are fundamental things that you probably can find very easily on the internet or in your textbooks, but just as a reminder, we're going to go over these right now. So first off is your power rule. And these are things you can find in your first year calculus textbook and stuff like that, or reference them on Google. They're very easy to find if you need further depth. And there's a lot more of these simple rules, like, derivatives of constants and stuff like that, but we don't really need to go over that. So there's the constant multiple rule. And that looks like this. You have a constant multiplied by some function f of x. You can direct that constant outside, and that's going to leave you the derivative of f of x. So our next one's product rule. It's a very, very common one. Used mostly almost all derivatives. And that looks like derivative with respect to x of f of x times some function f of g is equal to the derivative of f of x times f of g plus the derivative of g of x times f of x. Sorry, I said f of g back there, and I meant to say g of x. Okay, and then last one we'll go over right now is the quotient rule. And that's going to be when you have a quotient, obviously. So that's just means the derivative of something that's a division or divisible by something else. So what that does is that you take the derivative of your numerator and you multiply it by your denominator, and you subtract the numerator multiplied by the derivative of your denominator, and all that will be over what you had for your denominator first off squared. And the other way you could do this is that you could take this right here and you can bring this up to your numerator by making this 2 negative 2. So what that does is that inverses. So you're just writing it like this, like that, is that you'd have f of x times g negative 2x, that type of thing. Or to be more correct, if you're thinking about this case right here, that's what it would look like. So then that allows you to just use the product rule again. So you can perform the product rule because you're dealing with multiplication again. And so one thing I want you to note is that when you're dealing with this, is that no matter which way you do these derivatives, as long as the function is differentiable and the inversion is done correctly, whether you use the product rule or the quotient rule, in this case, it should give you the same answer. So let's do a good example here, and we'll show you exactly what the power of these methods are. So we're going to start off with a function f of x is equal to x to the power 4 minus 5 times 3x minus the square root of x, or x to the power of 1/2, over x squared. So what we're going to do is that we're going to use the quotient rule to solve this. And what we just did was, what we're going to do is take the derivative of our top and multiply it by our bottom. and then we're going to take away it's all over x squared, and then just for convenience of room, we're going to take away the derivative of the bottom times the numerator. That's over x squared. Okay. So now, taking our next step, it's going to get a little bit lengthy here. So you're going to have x squared times 4 to the power of 3. So this is just your power rule. What you're doing is you're bringing this 4 down in front, and then you're going to have the minus 1. 15 x squared, same thing. 3 down in front, minus 1. And then this one's going to be a little bit trickier. Same concept, so you bring your minus 2 down in front. What you're going to have is power of 1/2 minus 1. So what you have to do in this case is you have to think about that in terms of ratios. So if you have 1/2 minus 1, it's going to be 1/2 minus 2 over 2, and that's going to give you a negative 1/2. So we'll write that out in a second. Let's finish this first. So notice here that what we did, that was just simply this piece right here. You're just doing the power rule again. Bring your 2 down in front, minus 1. Alright, so now that we have that all written out, what we're going to do is we're going to simplify this. So we're going to move back up to the top here, because we're in the room. And what's going to happen now is we're going to draw our next step. Alright, so simplifying this out a little bit, multiplying that through, we give you 4x to the power of 5 minus 15x to the power of 4 minus 1/2 x. And now I'm going to write these out so you can see what's going on here. It's going to be plus 4 to the power squared, and now you're going to have minus 2x to the power 5. Now this was the second half there. That was the 2x multiplied by your numerator. That's 2x power of 3 over 2. So this is going to be from multiplying x into the power of 1/2. That's all going to be over 2. So we're going to just further keep simplifying this. So what's going to happen is that you see that we have some common powers here. That means we can simplify this. So that's going to leave us with 2x to the power 5 minus 5x to the power 4. And then this is going to be another ratio thing. You're going to have negative 1/2 minus 2. So that's actually going to give you plus 3 over 2. The whole thing's going to end up being x to the power of negative 5 over 2. Sorry. Made a mistake here. That, remember, should be to the power of 4, because remember, that's the bottom squared. So, I made a little mistake back there. Actually, what should have happened is on your bottoms, when I said you had your numerator squared, it should have been x squared squared, giving you x to the power 4. Very sorry about that, get a little bit ahead of myself. So you have x to the power 4. So the reason that's going to give you, so that's why that's going to give you negative 5 over 2 here, because you're going to have this and this divided by x to the power of 4. You add them together. So now this whole thing is divided by x to the power of 4. Oh, sorry, jumped a step here again. This is actually going to be 3 over 2 is what this simplifies to. Then it's divided by x to the power of 4. And it's going to leave you with that taken out, and minus 5x is taken out, so just minus 5 plus 3 over 2 x negative 5 over 2, and that's what we get for an answer. So what we're going to do is that we're actually going to check this using a different method. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the product rule next. So check out our next video on differentiation, product rule.